When the United States steps back from the world, no good guy steps in. The world just falls apart. On the face of it, events in Gaza, Ukraine, Syria, and Iraq have no common thread. But the reality is that the escalation in the crisis in each of these countries and regions comes from the same source. Russian-backed Ukrainian separatists shot down a Malaysian Airlines passenger jet over Ukrainian territory in late July as part of Russia's war on sovereign Ukraine. The Islamic State, which used to be known as the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, continued its war on the Iraqi and Syrian people, killing dozens over this last weekend and taking more territory. And Hamas and Israel continued fighting, with the war entering an even more deadly phase, with hundreds of Palestinians killed and more than a dozen Israeli soldiers killed. So what ties all of this together? At the end of the day, the common thread here is American retreat, or at least the perception that the world's only superpower has disengaged from the world. Are we the world's policemen? The answer to that is no, but we have an interest in each of these cases. The reality is that local problems become global problems if they're ignored. Just look at what happened in Ukraine. We didn't push back on the Russians supplying more and more sophisticated weapons to the rebels in Ukraine. We didn't push back hard enough on the annexation of Crimea. Now almost 300 people are dead, innocent passengers in an airplane that was shot down. Do we care about Baghdad? Do we care about Iraq? Maybe not. But when we pulled out in 2011, we left nothing behind. No soldiers, no personnel, no counterterrorism cooperation. And now, the Islamic State, one of the most dangerous groups in the world, holds territory in Iraq. Finally, Hamas, the terrorist group, a group that has killed many Americans, joined the Palestinian government last month. What did the United States do? Absolutely nothing. If we are willing to provide hundreds of millions of dollars in taxpayer money to a Palestinian government that includes Hamas, is it any surprise that they would then go on to kidnap and murder innocent civilians, believing that there'll be no pushback from the civilized world? The American role in the world should be pretty straightforward. We don't need to re-invade Iraq or invade Ukraine or Syria or Gaza. What we need to do is have a doctrine that envisions helping people help themselves. If we had helped the Ukrainian military, maybe the rebels wouldn't have been emboldened to shoot down that jetliner. If we had left residual forces in Iraq, or continued counterterrorism cooperation with the Iraqi military, or armed the Free Syrian Army sooner, perhaps the Islamic State wouldn't have made the gains it's made in recent months. And if we had stood against Hamas more clearly, maybe they wouldn't have felt empowered to begin to kidnap and kill Israelis. But we didn't. And the world is going to get a lot more dangerous for the American people before it gets any safer.